controlled ownership. This deal is expected to be confirmed in a call between US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has stated that the 17 September divestiture deadline prompted Beijing to move forward, adding that a 90-day extension could be granted to finalize terms. He has stressed that the deal would protect US national security while preserving cultural elements important to China. China's trade representative Li Chenggang has confirmed that both sides had reached a basic framework consensus, calling the outcome mutually beneficial. Listen in.
本次会谈，双方围绕 TikTok 及中方有关关切进行了坦诚深入的交流，就以合作方式妥善解决 TikTok 相关问题，减少投资障碍，促进有关经贸合作等，达成了基本框架共识。
US Trade Representative Jamieson Greer has stated that Washington has remained open to extending the current 90-day pause on tariffs, calling the Madrid talks candid and constructive. Listen in to what he had to say.
To be able to come, sit down, quickly identify the issues, narrow them down to a very granular spot, and be able to come to a conclusion subject to the leader's approval, I mean, that is remarkable. I mean, US-China negotiations tend to go on for months and years without results, but I have to say too that President Trump played a role in this. We had a call with him last night. We had specific guidance from him. We shared it with our Chinese counterparts, and without his leadership and the leverage he provides, we would not have been able to conclude the deal today.
The Madrid meeting, which was held in Palacio de Santa Cruz, was the fourth round of negotiations between US and China in the last 4 months. Now, the deal, if finalized, will require congressional approval under the 2024 law mandating TikTok's divestiture over national security concerns in the United States of America. With us on the broadcast is Andrew K.P. Leung. He's a strategist focusing on the economy and on geopolitics as far as China is concerned. Thank you so much, sir, for taking our time speaking to us on NewsX World. What are, in your assessment, the implications of this consensus that has been reached as far as the ownership of TikTok is concerned?
I think the implications are that both sides are putting their cards on the table. As far as America is concerned, I mean, the mantra is that this TikTok represents some sort of a national security as far as data security is concerned, because the social media platform has become very popular amongst young people. A lot of them from supporters, and in fact that these supporters play a role in Trump winning back the White House. And of course that the Trump administration is using the reason of national security and data security to want to seize control of the TikTok platform in the United States. And even its original algorithm, which drives the whole TikTok business, and not only in the United States, but the rest of the world, because the platform has been proven also extremely popular among the young people across the group. There is no way that Beijing and the Chinese company, ByteDance, would agree to relinquish the intellectual property over their algorithms to the United States. And hence, this is a hard-won framework agreement. But the details are yet to be announced. I think it's likely that the data security would be ring-fenced by the United States, so as to satisfy the security concerns advanced by the American side. But on the other hand, to serve in some sort of a stake as far as the Chinese company is concerned. But this is also a part of the milestone towards a greater understanding on other trade issues, the semiconductor stranglehold on China, and other tariff restrictions, as well as the targeting of sanctions of a number of Chinese companies only recently, even days ago. So this does not all go well to a kind of equal footing between the two countries. But at least the two sides have come to some sort of initial agreement, and Trump is very eager to be able to speak to President Xi later this week, probably on Friday. And if that happens, it also paves the way for the two leaders possibly to meet one another, each other, personally, perhaps at the margin of the Asian Pacific meeting later on the year. And it also paves the way for somewhat sort of a normalization of a relationship between these two rival superpowers.
Indeed, and you've spoken about the rivalry that exists. We do know, as you pointed out, that TikTok is quite popular in the United States of America. There are an estimated 170 million users. So do you think China would have considered the fact that this market is absolutely gigantic, and how do you think this will impact the US-China tech rivalry in the future?
Well, even though there's 170 million users of TikTok, there are also quite a large number outside China using TikTok in Europe and other countries in Latin America, in Asia, and also the TikTok equivalent, the Douyin in China, owned by the same company, ByteDance, is even larger. And then because of the fear of the TikTok users in the United States, the TikTok will be shut down one day. So a lot of the American young people, before this current agreement, framework agreement, had already migrated or locked into the China version on the Chinese mainland, which is called Douyin. Even though the Chinese platform doesn't use English, but there is a lock-in there to enable the English speakers to interact directly with their Chinese counterparts on the mainland, and using, and then this formed a bridge never before happened of enabling the American young people to understand what's going on with their counterparts on the mainland. That's helped to broker a greater understanding between the people-to-people understanding, at least amongst young people. So it's a very healthy development, and I think this development is not likely to be seized or disrupted because of this framework agreement. I think that there is a momentum that both countries are trying to normalize relationship in the sense that there is all a tremendous competition and rivalry, but also creating an area of cooperation and greater mutual understanding to avoid the relationship descending into war.
All right, sir. With that, I would like to thank you for sharing your perspective today on NewsX World. Meanwhile, viewers, we're shifting our focus back to the Middle East. Some fresh reports are coming in regarding an attack on a media center in Sana'a by Israeli forces. We're now learning, as per the Houthis' Ministry of Health, that attacks have been carried out in Sana'a and Al Jawaf, in which at least 35 people have lost their lives, those which include journalists and other civilians as well. Mohammed al-Bashar, a Yemeni analyst, has stated that the strikes were carried out when the staff of the Houthi-controlled newspaper were printing their papers. He has also stated that it was a weekly publication, and thus the staff were gathered at the publishing house to prepare for distribution, significantly increasing the number of people present in the compound. Now, meanwhile, the Israeli military has claimed to have struck the Houthi Public Relations Department in response to recent attacks by the Houthis on Israel. All right, viewers, due to paucity of time, that's all we have for this bulletin. More news and updates on the other side. Stay tuned on NewsX World.